What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back, and we're going to kick off bowl season the right way by previewing all the games and, of course, picking them as well. And that's a good time to announce that we are doing a bowl pick'em on ESPN. We're going to put the link in the description below if you'd like to join. It's free to play, and the top three players will get prizes. Even if it's us, we'll skip past us. But definitely join that and compete against us. And last week we only had the Army and Navy game, and we both took Army, and it didn't work out for us. They were heavily favored coming into this game, and Navy pretty much asserted dominance after the first quarter. Obviously it's a run first game for every team. So low scoring, of course, and I think the under has hit 9 straight times in this game. So definitely a old school smash mouth football game, but we also are putting money on our picks here. That amount is disclosed right now, but there will be money on the bowl pick'ems moving forward as Ty has a 2-game lead going into it. And we'll start off here with Ty. You're taking Toledo.
Yeah, I got to rock with one of my MAC schools here. Toledo coming in as the big favorite, but yeah, I think they're a little better than their record this year. I think they're a pretty solid team in the MAC, and Middle Tennessee 6-6, barely scraping into a bowl game in a pretty weak Conference USA. So Toledo, I think their offense is going to be more powerful than Middle Tennessee, and I think they should win the game.
I'm with you there, and I was looking. Toledo has won their last 4 out of 5 coming into this game, and their only loss was Eastern by 3 in a really high scoring affair. I think Toledo is going to run away with this one late, just because in that 5-game span they've been averaging over 40 points a game, and I don't really see this subpar Middle Tennessee defense really being able to contain them. So Toledo will probably cover, honestly. And in the next game, we got Coastal Carolina and Northern Illinois, another MAC school. For Coastal Carolina, I think I got to roll with them just because their quarterback, Grayson McHale, he led the FBS in passing efficiency this year. And obviously when your quarterback's leading in efficiency, that's always a great sign. And I think that's all you really need to know about this game. NIU is one of the top MAC teams this year, as they did win the MAC. But I just don't think that they're going to be able to get past Coastal Carolina here.
Yeah, I think both of these offenses are really, they have a lot of firepower. There's going to be a lot of points scored, but Northern Illinois' defense is very suspect. We saw that all year, and I think Coastal Carolina has the better defense, so that'll be the difference here.
And on Saturday, the 18th, first of many games here, we got the Boca Raton Bowl. And for Appalachian State, I think they are favored not only just because they're 10-3, but they have a really good defense this year. Definitely in games like this where it's not the best of teams and you're not going against firepower offenses, that defense is gonna, show here, and I think that's why they're gonna come away with a victory.
Yeah, I wanted to take Western Kentucky here. I have it right here. Their quarterback, Bailey Zapp, 5,500 yards, 56 touchdowns this year. So very underrated season. To be honest, I had never even heard his name all year, so that's pretty impressive. But that being said, Appalachian State, they don't lose bowl games. So I'm going with Appalachian State. I don't know if they've even lost a bowl game since they moved to the FBS.
And at 2:15, we got, yes, you read that right, the PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl. Yes, video games are getting in the bowl games. And we got UTEP versus Fresno State. Fresno State's quarterback, Jake Haener, he almost came back to Washington, but then Fresno State's coach took a job and all this kind of, and he's gonna see if he can cap off his good season with the Bulldogs here. And I think he's gonna do it. The spread may be a little too high for 11.5, with the Fresno State having some coaches leaving and trying to fill some voids, but Fresno State will win here.
Yeah, the coaches leaving won't matter too much. Fresno State is significantly better, and they should win this game pretty easily.
And at 3:30, We got UAB, who just didn't even have a program a few years ago, and BYU, who's been really good at 10-2 this year. Um, I think you just got to give the upper hand to BYU just because they're running back Taylor Alligator. He's an All-American, back to back, tied for rushing touchdowns in the nation right now. And, if they're just going to get the ball in his hands as much as they can, I can't see them losing this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say BYU covers that 7-point spread. I think that's pretty low. BYU generally shows up in bowl games and plays pretty well. I think that'll continue this year.
And our first disagreement of the bowl season, I'm going with Eastern here in the Lending Tree Bowl. Yeah, Malik Willis for Liberty, potential first round pick, top 5 quarterback, but it's still undecided. He hasn't announced that he is going to be playing. And, right now, I think the 9.5 is because they're planning on him playing. But, as this game gets closer, even within a week, he may not play. So I'm going to roll with Eastern here. I think they will pull off an upset, even if he does play. But I'm not really too confident in that pick.
Yeah, I hate picking against the MAC, but I gotta go with Liberty. They're the better coach team with Hugh Freeze. They have one of the better quarterbacks in college football, Malik Willis, and I think he needs to, assuming he plays, I think he needs to have one more game where he can show scouts why he's, maybe the best quarterback in the draft. So I think Liberty is going to put up some points in this game.
And at 7:30, we got the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. Yes, if you are famous enough, you can have your own bowl game as well. And Utah State is led by wide receiver Devin Thompson, and he's pretty much been the workhorse for this team this year. Leading them that 10-3 record, and they've been pretty consistent this year. Nothing really kind of suspect games at all. But they won the Mountain West title in the first year with head coach Blake Anderson. And I really think a win here is going to solidify that first year. Going 11-3 in your first year is a really good success story. And who knows, maybe he might even be moving out of Utah State to a better program after 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely take Utah State to cover, that's for sure. That line is a little deceiving. You can usually ignore lines in bowl games for the most part. It's usually just who shows up. But Utah State is a team that's been really solid all year. Oregon State, I know they're Power Five, but they've had their struggles against some really lower teams in the Pac-12. I think Utah State's gonna upset Oregon State.
And I believe the last game for Saturday, we got Louisiana Raging Cajuns versus Marshall Herd in the New Orleans Bowl. And I mean, you got Louisiana playing, it feels like their own bowl game in their own stadium in a bowl game here. And how can you not pick them? They're 12-1 this year, probably going to go 13-1 against a 7-5 team that's all right this year. But to that 7-2 Marshall's credit, they got Rasheen Ali, who is one of the most dynamic running backs in the country. If they get the ball in his hands, who knows how this game will play out. But I think just based off of everything else, I think you got to go with Louisiana here.
Yeah, Louisiana's got the home field advantage in this game, which means they'll have 20 fans there and Marshall will have 10. So I think Louisiana, despite their coach leaving, they're the far more talented team. And, 13 wins for them would be huge. And I think that's a big thing to play for. So I think they should win this game and probably cover the 5-point spread.
And moving to Monday, the 20th, we got Old Dominion versus Tulsa in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. And Tulsa's running back, Samari Brooks, was looking to rush for 1,000 yards or more in consecutive seasons. He sat out 2020 with a torn ACL. But, coming back from a torn ACL is no joke. And he's been having a really good year. And I think it's going to continue in this bowl game. And Tulsa's going to win this game as well.
Yeah, Tulsa's won 3 in a row to make it to this bowl game. And, 6-6, never anything to write home about. So you got 2 6-6 teams. Who's the hottest team and who's looked the best when they're playing their best? And I think that's Tulsa. They've competed with some really good teams, Cincinnati, Ohio State, Oklahoma State. So I think they should win this game pretty easily.
And on Tuesday, we got Kent State, the runner-up in the MAC versus Wyoming in their own bowl game. It feels like every year they always seem like they play in this Idaho Potato Bowl. But I think Kent State, they have a really balanced attack, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. If they can't throw, then they'll run, and vice versa. So I'm going with Kent State here in the upset.
I just think Wyoming's the more established team in a better conference than Kent State. Quarterback play, I think, is the issue for Kent State. I know they've been putting up some points, but when they really have to score, sometimes it gets a little dicey for them. So I think Wyoming is going to win a close game.
And Tuesday night, the team you never pick, but you are picking, San Diego State with Brady Hoke at helm. It's talking about Brady Hoke. He's put a pretty successful, year together. They've been ranked, it feels like, for the last month at 11-2, and a UTS team coming in that's 12-1. So a battle of two teams that aren't getting enough credit as they deserve this year, and we'll see which one is the best out of these two. I'm rolling with San Diego State because I think just, having Brady Hoke as the head coach, he's been to bowl games before and he has that experience. And I think that's what's going to be the key part in this game. So I think San Diego State will win.
Yeah, all year I've been rocking with San Diego State. I've always loved them. So got to continue to pick them here. And I'm even going to pick them as an underdog. So nobody can hate me anymore. I think they are the better team. I think UTSA, they got by a lot of close games to get to their undefeated, whatever it was, 11-0 record before their last two games. I think San Diego State's the more consistent team, despite whatever happened in the Mountain West Championship. But I think that motivates them, and I think they get the win.
And I really wanted to take Army here, but then I saw how they performed last week in the Army Navy game, and I got to go with Missouri. Missouri SEC school who is lucky enough to go 6-6. They're not one of the top teams in the SEC, but if you can reach a bowl game and you're in the SEC, props to you, because that's pretty hard to do with at least 4 or 5 teams always ranked in the top 25 every year. And I think they're going to relax a little. I think they'll be able to play their game against Army's defense, who, kind of not really got shredded, but exposed a little bit last week against Navy. And I think Missouri's going to learn from that, and they're going to pull off the upset here.
Yeah, I had Army before the Army Navy game. I really wanted to switch it, but everyone says that game you just throw out the records, you never know. So I guess I'm going to put that to the test here. I'm going to stick with Army. I like the under here. Missouri's strength, if they have one. I mean, they're 6-16, but their strength would be their defense. Obviously, Army's not going to light you up too much on offense. So I like the under, and I like Army. I think they're motivated. They're pretty pissed off. They just lost to their biggest rival. What do they have to look forward to? Training. So you got to win this game. Otherwise, kind of sucks. So bottom line, going to Army.
And Thursday, the last day of our video here, we got North Texas versus Miami of Ohio in a battle of the 6-6 for the Frisco Football Classic. And I'm going with North Texas. I kind of wanted to take the MAC school here, but I just couldn't because, North Texas has a senior running back, DeAndre Torrey, I believe, who's rushed for over 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, and can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. And I think that trend is going to continue. And they also don't have to go far. It's probably about an hour drive for them. So technically a home game, and I think that's going to be a big part. They're going to have a big crowd there, so I'm rolling with North Texas.
Yeah, nothing like the Frisco Football Classic. I think this might be the bowl game they just added because they had 2 extra teams, so they just were like, hey, let's play a game. But I'm going to go with North Texas. I know I keep picking against the MAC, but just to be honest, the MAC isn't very good. I mean, they're never very good in terms of producing power football teams. So I'm going to take North Texas here. They play in a slightly better conference, and Miami, Ohio has looked really suspect in a not very good conference, struggling to a 6-6 record. I'm going to North Texas. And I also want to point out Celebration Bowl Saturday. I'm going with Jackson State. I don't even know who they play, but I'm going with
Yeah,
Jackson State and Coach Prime.
I saw that. I forgot to put that one in because it's an FCS, but they are playing let me look it up. They are playing South Carolina State.
Oh, that's an easy win.
So 11-1 versus 6-5 team. I think they got that one on locks.
Yeah.
And moving to our last game of the video, we got the battle for Florida that'll take place in Tampa. You got UCF versus Florida, two programs that probably could have played a little better this year. Disappointing years, obviously, for Florida as usual. And UCF, still kind of slowly trending downhill after their 13-0 season. And I think you got to go with UCF here in the upset because one, Florida's still trying to figure out the organization, players, obviously National Signing Day was yesterday. So signing new guys. And it's just been, I think it's going to be too much for them. And they still got to go play a football game. So I think UCF has the upper hand, because they're still on a normal schedule. Like everything's, how it should be preparing for a bowl game. And I think UCF will win this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised the line is that high. I mean, obviously, if we were playing this game in October, then that would make sense. But this is a bowl game, and Florida's 6-6. I mean, how much do they really care about this game? How much do they really want to be there after firing their coach? So I think UCF, even if this game meant a lot to Florida, I think this would still be a close game. But just because it's a meaningless bowl game, I'm going to go with UCF, who probably cares a lot more about this game.
I'm hammering that UCF money line, hammering
Yeah.
it. And that'll be it for the video today. Once again, we are doing that bowl picks. So, look in the description below. We're going to have that for you. And once again, you got to subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with all of our bench buddies, and you won't want to miss our next video where we talk about all of the, Christmas and the New Year's Eve games, the games that feel like they get forgotten about, but we're going to be talking about them and giving you guys a little scoop on the inside. So if you're betting, a little insight knowledge, but until the next time, the bench buddies are out.
She never called back.